Hello everyone, this is Peter Rudder from VFE Pedals. I announced last year that I'd be closing down VFE in 2026. In this video, I'm going to detail all the different pedals that are available, including new ones. First, it's just an overview. I'm going to go through these months slide by slide. These aren't exactly going to line up perfectly with this, but this is my goal to get it closed down this year. All right, first, I do want to note that on the website, I have a bunch of in-stock pedals at various price points from $129 to $199. I do want to mention specifically that there's a new version of the Fiery Red Horse. It's based off the original Fiery Red Horse, which was a modified triangle era Big Muff. And when experimenting with some circuits with my students, realized that adding or subtracting gain stages from that circuit really changes fundamentally what it can be. And so it's got now a stage switch, so you can have the standard Big Muff, or you can switch and remove a stage and it's more of like a crunchy drive tone, or add a stage and now you've got like an extreme high gain, ton of sustain type of distortion tone. I'm only building 10 of them. Okay, moving on, next slide. You can also pre-order the Old School and the Scream. Part of the reasons why I'm building certain pedals doesn't have to do with like which ones are the most popular. It actually has to do with what stock of circuit boards or these things can use these parts that I need to move out of inventory and clear out. You can pre-order those now. I expect to start shipping those around the end of May and definitely into June. By the way, down below on these slides, there's a link on how to get to these. I'm also rebuilding a whole Eurorack modular system that I teach math and circuits. So I've been doing this since 2021 and I've learned a lot. This is the full module, mine here. And it's got a pretty straightforward modular synth here. And then this one has built-in speaker and breadboard and other things for like prototyping or testing or listening. And then we've got an oscilloscope that I didn't build. We just bought from Mordax called the Data. We're rebuilding all of the stuff from here over based off of everything I learned as a teacher to make it more straightforward for students, more accessible, so they're not like pain points of like, oh, it's kind of hard to stick a wire in there. This project is going to cost me over $3,000 and I could really use some support, some help with that. These are the kinds of projects that it is impossible to get a school district to pay for because of the fact that I would have to source many of these parts, components directly from sources, overseas. And the school district just cannot do business outside of the United States as part of the policy. So even if they could, the complexity of this is so insane that I couldn't trust handing that order off to anyone and having it actually be done right. In order to do this kind of stuff, I have to pay for it myself. Right now, I have a GoFundMe campaign. I'm hoping to raise about half the cost through the GoFundMe campaign. If more than that, great, that'll help, but that's kind of my target, is to raise about half of it. More on this later. Next up, I'm finishing building out all the stereo Klein Bottles. I have like all of them, probably about 80% done. And so they're just kind of waiting for me to have more time, and I will have that time in the summer. If you're willing to wait until the summer, until July, when I finish out all the stock, the discounted pricing. So $399 for the TRS version and $499 for the Stack Jack. I also have a chunk of them in stock, and so you can see on the website that those are $50 extra, and they're unique colors. And then the Reverb store orders, there's two reasons why the prices are higher here. One, in order for me to ship these, I essentially have to take a pedal and finish it, and so you're asking me to like right now get on it instead of waiting until the summer. So I'm going to charge you extra for my time right now. But then the other reason is once all these things are built out and things start moving over to the Reverb store, there's more fees associated, and I didn't want to like create a artificially low price that I then had to raise later. All right, I told you I was coming back to this one. Another way that I'm raising funds for the production of this synth module is by allowing you to buy one particular module that is pretty unique. That is a circuit builder and tester. So it has a half-size breadboard, you can see right there. It has a built-in speaker. It also has a bunch of header sockets around the breadboard and also in some other areas that help you build circuits and test them more quickly. It's got ways to go in and out of the breadboard using like with the modular system with the aux cable. So this is something that's a central hub to all of my teaching, and it's something that I can build more of. Also, included with it is that I will release over time like PDFs and videos that go along with. They'll be for my classroom. That's what they'll be directed and aimed at, but you'll have access to them, and all you would need to be able to do most of the things in those videos, you would need to have some sort of oscilloscope so you could see. That's part of a lot of the learning. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And then you would need to have kind of like your basics of a modular synth, which is VCO, LFO, VCF, VCA, those just basics, and then some way to play it. I'm only going to build maybe like 20 extra or something like that, so you can pre-order, and I expect to ship those in August and probably more like the end of July. Next up is the VFE Final Overdrive, and boy, do I need to tell you a long story on this one. But to start up, I want to mention a few things. Number one, it's available to pre-order for $139. Number two, I am having to delay the original ship date projection on this one and the next two pedals because the company that I'm getting the custom-made potentiometers to make this all possible has reported that because of a global shortage of the carbon material that's used in the potentiometers, that they're having delays. That's pushed back my projection date for shipping into the school year, which means a couple of things. One, I won't be able to ship as many, and two, like I need to stagger the ship dates. Instead of promising all these pedals in August, I have to stagger them over a couple months. But I also wanted to create a new design, a new template, so that when I moved to a hobbyist, I could do these one-off builds as professionally as I'm used to doing things that I can order in larger quantities. So that required a change in the size of the enclosure, not actually the footprint, but the height. I'm here to tell you the story of the very first pedal that I designed a circuit board from scratch. I called it the Proto-OD, and it was very simply a tube screamer where I removed the output and input buffers and added a clipping switch and then a knob to affect the low end. I sold them for like 40, 50 bucks on eBay, just enough to recover my cost of building the pedals so I could continue my hobby of learning and building. Over time, I updated it and called it the Proto-OD2 and then the Proto-OD3. And in this one, you can see the template that I would begin to use when I launched VFE pedals. And this pedal taught me a lot about all the different things that I continue to employ today, and you'll even see that the evolution of this pedal has made its way into a lot of other circuits, and so it has a special place for me. So the Proto-OD3, when we actually brought it to market, became the Pale Horse. And one of the things that was unique about it is that instead of using silicon diodes, it used MOSFET transistors, which increase the clipping threshold for distortion begins much higher, which does a number of things to the feel and to its ability to handle lower frequencies. And I revised it over time. In the next version, we added a compression control, a variable compression control that became a staple of something that I use. The easiest way to explain it is instead of having clipping switch that has this option, and then nothing in the middle where you remove them, it's a knob that does the same thing gradually. So on one side, it's this clipping option. You turn it all the way the other way, it's the other clipping option. And in the middle, it's like you remove them both. When I worked with an artist back in 2014 to design a mid-boosting circuit that we called the Focus, and then eventually it became the Standout, a couple years later, I realized that this mid-boosting circuit, if I added a drive circuit to it, could be a really unique and cool thing. And so I took the drive circuit from the Pale Horse, and I put it into what was called the Dragon. So this was the original version. And then I updated it and revised it to get it to add back in some features that it had lost. Like it had lost the charge pump that really gives it that high headroom, lots of output, really makes it so that the compression control, which is added back on this one, is allowed to have that widest possible range to it. And so, and I improved things like the noise floor and all those sort of things. So this was the last version of that circuit. So you can see this evolution of my journey through all these prototype overdrives, through the Pale Horse, through the Dragon, is my journey to create the ultimate overdrive. This one is the next evolution of that. So that's a long story to show you why this is I'm doing this, is it's important to me. Basically takes that last version of the Dragon and adds two major features. The two major features are that clean blend, so true clean blend control to blend in the clean tone, and a switch underneath the compression control. There's a switch to toggle between the more dynamic MOSFET clipping. So we have MOSFET options on the dynamic side and classic traditional silicon diode clipping options that are more compressed and saturated with longer sustain on the other side. All right, now that I've told you that long story, let me show you it. Okay, a couple quick disclaimers. I'm just using the standard setup that I use to teach my classes. There's no amp in this chain. This is just going straight to the mixer, straight to the computer. And then like I'm using like a document camera, so like the color is desaturated and kind of tinted weird. I'm not going to try to like wow you with this. It's literally the setup that would make it sound the worst probably right now. I just want to show you the function. So I'm going to teach you the functions here. Let me turn it on. Okay. And so I'm going to turn down the clean blend, and so now what this is just a volume of the overdrive itself. Let me turn down that volume because I'm about to change the gain here. And then this control is your compression control, which right now at 12 o'clock is actually one of the more clean settings. You're not going to get as much saturation. So if you, there's a ton of gain, but if I pick lightly, it stays pretty clean. Now let me turn it all the way to one side, and now I'm going to have to bring up that volume. And now you can see just how much gain there actually is in the circuit. Okay, there's a big volume difference between the saturated and the dynamic clipping. That's because of, let me mute that for a second. That's because of the clipping threshold changes here. So let me switch it over to dynamic, and you'll hear that. I'm gonna pull that volume down. And so if I, let me not quite have that much gain, but if I play lighter, I go down here. I'm going to go to the other side. So you can hear that it's more dynamic than if I tried to do that same thing here. So let me just touch base on the other controls here. We have a clean blend, so you can okay. And then I'm still fine-tuning some of the tapers of these controls, and some of them, like in fact most of them, this one, and that one. All will be custom ordered pots, so the tapers are wrong right now. Like these controls will be much more intuitive when I have a prototype version with the samples in them. And even the fact that these two filters actually work in reverse, how they'll actually work, because I'm using off-the-shelf components. But you can see that if I move this way, I'm going to cut more bass. This way add, it'll be the opposite in the real thing. And then this switch makes it more aggressive of a cut. And then same thing here, except for it works in reverse. So this cuts treble, it'll do the reverse because the frequency cutoff point's going down as I turn this up instead of going up. Anyway. And it's more aggressive at 12. I like to, if anytime I want to get the fizz out of the sound, but without cutting too much treble, I put it in 12 to cut more aggressively the high highs, like the presence of it, and to leave the rest of the signal intact. If you want to get like a true demo with amp and stuff, you should just go find a Dragon demo. And the final thing about the new VFE Overdrive is I need you to help me name it. You've seen the story, you've seen the features. I want to come up with a name and I want your help. So please leave a comment in the comment section down below. What should I call the final VFE Overdrive? That is the sequel to the Proto OD, the Pale Horse, and the Dragon, the final one. And if I pick the name that you write, you will get this pedal for free. All right, let's move on. I'm making a second version of the RUP, which was the original pedal design idea behind the Triumvirate, a multi-band distortion that splits the signal into bass, mids, and treble and lets you distort them equally. But then the RUP came out later, and it was a way of like expanding that idea to its original concept where you have a lot of control. This RUP is being built to expand even on that expansion. It's got more features, but the real reason why it's being built is I have like 40-ish extra cases from making the Klein Bottles, stereo Klein Bottle, that didn't have any graphics on them. They were just painted and drilled, and I needed to use them for something. And customers have been asking me about this, and a customer asked me about it recently. I was like, oh, this would be a perfect fit for those ideas. I'm going to show you this one now. I'm just going to show it to you briefly, just like the other one. Let's go. As you can see, these enclosures that I have, they don't have any graphic on them, so I will have to hand paint the graphic. You can order a custom one that I'll get a printed graphic on, and you can choose the color, but that costs $50 extra. If you choose the $349, what I'll do is I'll finish these out. I'll put the graphics on them, a batch, and then I'll send out, here's your choices of colors, and you can pick from them. The reasons why for this demo I made these different colors is that this set of controls, this set of controls, this set of controls are all identical, except for this one's tailored more for lower frequencies, although you can get into the mid. This is for mid, but you can go kind of both ways, and this is for highs. Okay, and so the controls go like this. Okay, so you've got your gain and mix controls. So there's my gain. Turn it up. Here's my mix. I've got my high pass and low pass filters, which these are, again, just like the other one, off the shelf. They're not the custom made ones yet, so they don't quite work exactly right, but you can see it's affecting the cutoff frequency, so I'm moving less bass or more bass in and out of it. And if I match these two controls, I'm going to match the cutoff frequency here on the high end with the cutoff frequency here on the low end and create a true crossover, so that lower frequencies lower than that crossover point go to the silver, and above it go here. But then I can also do all sorts of overlap if I want to. Then we got our high pass one, or sorry, low pass one, which is our treble cut. And then we got, what's new this time is I've got both a hard and soft clipping control instead of just one compression control. Actually, let me pull this out here and you'll hear this. And actually this one is the right taper. It's one of the few ones that are right taper. So it's much more smooth in its operation. Then you'll see this one is totally wrong taper. You can see how quickly it changed there. And that's because the taper's off, but then it more gradually is on this side. And then you can blend them all in. You can have all of them go at the same time. There are effects loops here on the top so that you can plug additional effects, and then there's pre and post switches so that you can make those effects before the distortion or after the distortion. There's also these other switches are about like changing the slope of the cuts so you can be more aggressive on your filter cuts or more gradual for more overlap. And then also phase inversion switches, because if you plug in external effects, they might invert the phase, or you might want to intentionally invert it and see what happens. Then we've got our master volume and our dry control. And then this little switch is a unique one that links foot switches together. So if I toggle it to the left in the production model, it will tie these two together. And if I toggle it to the right in the production model, it would tie these two together. And then for this one, if I toggle it to the left, it would tie these two together because it ties this one to that one. And if I toggle it to the right, it would tie this one to the one over here together. Now, this one is not the production model, and so it actually does the reverse. So if I switch it this way, it ties these two together, which means that if I press it, they can both turn on and off, on at the same time. Or if one of them is on, and I do it, then they actually just switch between the two. And you can do this with all, there'll be switches for all three. Right now I only had this one part, so that's what's in there. But all three of them will be in there, so you can do them all independently, or just make it so that they all turn on and off with just any foot switch you press. So you can treat it like one big giant distortion effect. Okay, there's the REP. That's going to be available. My expected ship date is in October, and there's going to be a limited quantity of those built. And lastly, this is the pedal that I'm going to be building for myself. And so if I build 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, that's fine. You can order it as well. Basically, it's a stereo pedal, but all the effects within it are mono, but you can switch which side they are. So there's 2 circuits that are similar to that Dragon circuit. We've got one that's derived from the Alpha Dog Vintage Distortion, and another one from the Fiery Red Horse, the new version that I had showed you earlier. It allows you to stack them in different ways, switch them from different sides of the stereo field, and if you have questions, let me know. I have to charge $4.99 for it because of such small quantities there. That's a lot of expense just to develop it. Feel free to email me if you have questions about it. I have the circuit board just came in, so I'll be building a prototype here really soon. The ship date here is November. Now we're getting to the end of the year. In December is when I'll just, whatever I've got left in stock, we'll start to have some clearance prices to try to get rid of it. That's when that will happen, some steep discounts. But just because I'm clearing it out doesn't mean all of it will have to sell in December, because as soon as I transition to a hobbyist, as long as my inventory is not too high, it's fine for me to officially close VFE and move all my inventory to my Reverb store. The website won't close down, but all of the for sale pedals will be moved over to Reverb, and my Reverb account will be made into a personal account, and only the free DIY resources will be available there. The final in the VFE newsletter will be end of February, sometime maybe early March, depends on when my subscription to that expires, just to give you all the updates and a final thank you from me. The website might be closed in June? Yeah. That's because that's when I would have to re-up on the payment. Right now, I'm hoping to be able to re-up on that payment and have it be open, for another 3 years. So it's possible it could close, and if it does close, it would redirect to my Reverb page so that you could still find me, contact me. If there were any repair issues or warranty issues, I'm going to service those indefinitely, and so I want you to be able to still contact me even if the website officially goes dark. There's possibly one more pedal. I have a student that I've been working with. He wanted to make a Boss G7, and as I looked at it, this is like too complicated of a circuit for you to take on as like a total beginner. So I'll take a look at it, and but the stipulations, I'm going to do VFE things to it. I'm going to do stuff that I would want to do to it, like adding in a better op amp and increasing the clean headroom and adding additional controls. And I even designed it to not have simulated inductor circuits called gyrators, but actual inductors that aren't as simulated. Inductors can be really noisy in my experience. And so we'll see. We'll see how it turns out, and if it's great, I might build a handful. So thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time with me. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, comment about the name of the final VFE Overdrive. If I pick yours, you get it for free.